It's your daily dose of Donna, and today is Monday, October 7th. Thank you so much for being here, dosers. Today is a hard day. It's a hard day for me. It's a hard day for a lot of people who are around the world, being that it's 1 year since October 7th. I don't know what to say that makes sense. So I decided I was going to play a few minutes of my episode on October 9th. October 7th happened on 2023 on Saturday. And October 9th, I came to the show and I had to talk about Cody Brown. I had to talk about, I called him adorable Gary from The Bachelor, which is the Golden Bachelor, which is hilarious how that changed, right? I had to talk about Sai being hungry. It was just like a normal day. Love is Blind. Like it was literally exactly a year ago, the same stuff we were watching. But my mom was in Israel, as you guys know. So we're just going to watch a few minutes of this. I think it's important for those of you that know or don't really know me and are just learning who I am and wondering like what my ties are to Israel and to being Jewish. I'm going to play a little bit of it. I hope you guys can uh, spend some time just, sitting with it. I also really want to shout send out massive prayers and love to anyone that is struggling right now. I know so much of our country is underwater and currently expecting a horrendous hurricane that's coming towards them, Milton, which apparently could be stronger than Helene. It's devastating. It's scary. And I love you guys. I am thinking about all of you. I feel like right now we need something to change. Like everything I feel like we're on a bad timeline. So I will bring you guys happiness, but I do think this is important. This is like my way of just sharing my story about Israel. I hope you guys can sit through it. It's going to be a few minutes. This is from October 9th, 2023 on Daily Dose of Donna, of course. We will have to talk about Israel. And I am going to try very hard to stay as unemotional as possible. As you can see, that's impossible for me. I am not a journalist. I am just a human being. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my connection to Israel first. So I was born, number one, welcome, you guys. You guys, I see you all in my live comments. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. I was born here in Los Angeles to two Jewish parents. And my mom was born in Israel. My dad was born in Eastern Europe. But he lived in Israel his whole life. So my mom and dad lived in Haifa, which is the northern part of Israel, where my grandmother currently lives in her late 90s. We lived here my whole life growing up, but we were always very connected to Israel because we had family there. My mom met a man when I was 6 years old. She divorced. My mom and dad divorced. And when I was 6 years old, my mom met her husband, Ehud, who is an incredible man. He's an author of 4 books. He is a retired colonel in the Israeli army. He fought in the Yom Kippur War. He's like my dad, and he is my dad. And so the connections to Israel here in this home in my life are strong. I grew up going to Israel to visit all 4 of my grandparents that lived there. My mom's mom, her husband, Leah is her mom, and Gershon was her husband. He passed away a few years ago. And my dad's parents, Edith and Bondi, who lived in Haifa as well, and they're no longer there. They also passed away a few years ago. So I have a lot of memories going to Israel as a kid and going to Israel as I got older. And I love Israel. And when I was 16 years old, my mom sent me on a trip of a lifetime. And I say it with tears because it really did change the course of my life. I was in high school here in LA, and I was incredibly lost, as people are when they're 16 and when they're going through, high school drama. And I didn't know anyone other than maybe a couple people that were going on this trip. And it was a lot of money. It was like $6,000. And my mom didn't have money. And she took all the money she could possibly because she knew how important it was for me to go to experience Israel as a teenager with all Jews. And so when I was 16 in the summer of 1997, I went to Israel with 120 Jewish students from Los Angeles, 16, away from my family for 8 weeks. I had never even gone to sleepaway camp. What happened in those 8 weeks changed the course of my life. I was able to meet other people just like me, other Jews who also grew up in Los Angeles and maybe didn't know a lot of other Jews. I never went to Jewish camp growing up. I didn't go to Jewish school. I didn't even have a bat mitzvah. My parents being Israeli, that was enough. We didn't go to temple all the time. We were just Jewish at home for the holidays, for the culture of it. So I didn't know a lot about Jewish history. And to go to a trip like that and meet all these incredible young women and men, two of them, Adam and Dave, I was just out with last Thursday. I don't know if you watch my Instagram stories. They're my best friends still. Our husbands are friends. Well, my husband and their wives, and we're all friends, family friends. Our kids are friends. I had boyfriends on the trip. I got to try amazing food. I got to hang out with local Israelis that took us in for a weekend and took us everywhere. We went to go see Masada and the Western Wall, of course, and we hiked and we performed and we played sports and we swam in the water and we floated in the Dead Sea. And that trip literally stands out as the best experience, one of the best experiences of my entire life, no questions asked. And so when I had kids, I knew I was going to raise them Jewish. Like it wasn't a question. I married a man who wasn't Jewish. Lance is not Jewish. And Lance is so incredible that he always supported the Judaism in this family. Um, Did I think I was going to send my kids to a Jewish school past preschool? Hell no. But they're at a Jewish school. They're in 5th grade and 3rd grade at a Jewish school in Los Angeles. And I couldn't be happier about it because it's so lovely to know that I'm sending them to a place where they feel that they are amongst people that understand. They're going to have that history, that connection. And there's something about Jewish people that it's an instant bond. You don't have to be Jewish. You just have to understand Judaism to understand the bond between Jewish people. This summer, if you guys were following me, remember I had to take a 3-week hiatus from Daily Dose of Donna, and I went to Israel with my whole family, my sister, her husband, her 2 kids, my 2 kids, my husband, my mom, my stepdad. We got to see so many of my mom's friends there. My nephew had his bar mitzvah at the wall. We got to show both of our husbands Israel. They had never been. We got to show our kids Israel as kids that will remember Israel. We got to do all the same things. We went to Masada. We went to the wall. We went to the caves deep, deep down in Jerusalem. We learned the history. We cried alongside the movies about the Holocaust. We got to go to this beautiful museum that's not even open to the public with my stepdad because of his connections from being a colonel in the Israeli army. We got to see the tanks that they used in the Yom Kippur War. Never again, right? We got to eat the falafel and the shawarma and the hummus. We got to drink the amazing beer, the Israeli beer, and dance and swim and laugh. Israel is just such a treasure. It's such an insanely amazing, beautiful, incredible, incredible country. And it's small. It's so small, you guys. I don't know how to explain it if you're not there to understand that we were in the Dead Sea, which is very south. It's not at the south, but it's very south. And we drove all the way up to Haifa, which is very north, in 4 hours. So we basically crossed the country in a day's drive. It's tiny. And it's the only place in the world that is the one dedicated Jewish homeland. It's for the Jews to feel safe. And what has happened this weekend, to wake up on Saturday morning, well, it started Friday night. Friday night, we were driving home. I'm sorry, walking home from dinner. My mom is in Israel. Okay. My mom has an aging, very aging mother that lives in Haifa still. So my mom, who lives here in Los Angeles, travels there 5, 6 times a year for 5 weeks at a time. And she's in Israel still. Her husband came back on Thursday and she decided to stay along because her mother is not doing very well. Because on Thursday, all was good in Israel, you guys. That's how fast this happened. And Friday night, we were walking home from dinner, and Dylan, my son, said, I want to call Sapta. That's how we call my mom. I want to call Sapta and just see how she's doing. And we talked to her. And as he was talking to her, I said, Mom, she said, there's bombs. And I said, what? Yeah, she said, there's bombs and sirens. And I was like, that's so weird. I'm so confused. And we looked on the news and there was nothing. And we went to bed. And then we woke up on Saturday to see the devastation of what happened within hours. So I am not a political activist and I am not a historian and I'm not a CNN journalist. I'm just a person who's experiencing this in real time across the world with my mom in Israel. And it's just been awful. It's just been awful. There was a beautiful, huge peace music festival. Imagine a Coachella or a Lollapalooza or any of these. ACL, Austin City Limits was this weekend. People just trying to get together to celebrate peace. It's Sukkot. It's a holiday and it's a happy time. And this is when all of these people came in from all angles to sneak attack Israel. No one saw it coming, which is a whole other story. Paragliders came in, cars came in, motorbikes came in, and they killed and kidnapped these young women and men just from a music festival. In Las Vegas, when we had that one disgusting, horrible shooting where my friends were there and were running from bullets. This is 260 people, 260 bodies dead in one music festival in the desert. 260 people, women and men kidnapped, thrown onto motorbikes, grabbed, thrown into cars. The most horrific video footage you can see of families being taken over, of young kids, of old women being taken. Their homes are being taken. People go into their homes in the middle of the morning, completely just break in and kill them, or worse, do awful things to them, torture them. And then the worst part about it is so many of them were taken and are God knows where. Kids, grandmas, women, men, innocent people living their lives to be tortured. This is not a conversation about the politics. This is not a conversation about politics. I will not have that conversation here. I am saying that if you like to follow my show and if you like to follow me, then I expect one thing and one thing only, is that you have a heart and you're able to see way past what you think is right or what you think is deserved or what you think is wrong in the past. Because I have been getting all of the comments, mostly good, thank God, because I have an amazing community. That's you guys. What's wrong is wrong. Kids being taken, teenagers, 20-year-olds being just murdered brutally, or worse, I don't even want to say it here. Okay, worse. Tortured, taken, kidnapped. For what? It's terrorism. It's terrorism through and through. And if it happened here in the United States, it wouldn't be a question how wrong it was. But there's something that happens when it happens to Israel. And there's something that happens when it happens to Jews. And it would be a miss on my part if I didn't bring it up. It would be such a miss. Because here I am. This is why I'm here. I am a Jewish American. I am raising two beautiful, incredible Jewish boys. And I'm scared for the Jewish people because it doesn't go away. Because the day after this happens, and you see this kind of footage online, there's rallies saying end Israel. It's our only safe place. And if there's no Israel, there's no more Jews. This is Israel's 9/11. No one came after America after 9/11 and said it was your fault. We just said, how do we protect? How do we comfort? How do we watch over? And how do we help? How do we help? So if any of you guys are curious what's going on and how to help and how to support, there are many ways. The donations, the fundraisers, all of that can be later. Just reach out to your Jewish friends. Reach out to those who are in this position who are scared. And I'm not scared to say I'm Jewish. I'm a proud Jew. Proud. I had Holocaust survivors for grandparents. We are survivors. As a country, as a race, as a religion, we are survivors and we'll get through this too. But it's awful. It's been awful. And I want my mom home. I want my mom to come home because I hate it. I'm muted. Oh, I was muted. That's just so typical. They were like, Donna, shut up. That was my moment of silence, my mute. Thank you. I'm back. I will edit that out later. Thank you for indulging that and letting me share that. I didn't realize how long it was. It was very long. So I was looking at the clock and I was like, oh, uh-oh. But I'm glad that's on video because it was so raw and so real. And so I'm reading all your comments. I was with you guys. I was connecting with you. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish or not. We're all struggling. We all have things that we're going through right now, right? War, natural disasters, sickness. Geez, let's like all send each other one collective hug. I love every single one of you guys that are here and supporting, and I support you too. So, praying. All right. Are we ready to get in the show? Get into the show. Are we ready to shake it up, to throw on our ramen hair, and to talk shit about Cody Brown and talk about everything else? I believe we're ready. And now, thank you so much for being here, all of you, because now this is your daily dose of Donna. I had to dance it out. Sometimes the best thing to do is dance. Have you guys ever had that moment where you're just feeling all kinds of feelings, whether it's happy or sad or scared or nervous or anxious, and then you just put on a song and you freaking dance? Like there's nothing better. Sabrina Carpenter has done that for me lately. Like, I've been putting on Sabrina Carpenter and just freaking dancing. I do want to just like respond to a lot of you who were saying, like, I hope your mom and your grandma are safe. My mom is definitely safe. She's here in America right now. She's wanting to go to Israel in a few weeks, which scares me. But also, my grandmother did pass. She passed last October, the end of October. Um, not because of the war, thank God. I'm so glad she passed. This would be a horrible last years of her life. So I am just wanted to let you guys know that yes, she passed on October. I believe it was 24th, 23rd, something like that. Um, so okay, let's get into today's show. Huh? Huh? Let's do it. Let's do it. But before we get into today's show, I have to shout out one of my newest sponsors. And you guys, you know I talk about sex toys. You know I talk about meat. You know I talk about hair. What else do I talk about? I talk about all kinds of things on the show. I really do. I talk about everything. But today's sponsor is really for a specific portion of you. And that's those 420 lovers. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about marijuana. Yes. Yes. Shockingly, I am talking about flower. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Let me share a little video with you about VIIA. VIIA. Oh, good old VIIA. VIIA is the sponsor of this week's show. So I want to just kind of remind you as the crisp air, fall air rolls in and the leaves begin to change, don't rely only on pumpkin to spice up your life. Embrace the natural power of cannabis this fall season with VIIA. VIIA's premium federally legal cannabis products are your perfect companion, farmed and crafted with care in the US and trusted by over 500,000 customers. VIIA has a product for everyone. Yep, that's true. Everyone. Now, I hope Tamara doesn't get mad at me for doing this product, but they have a premium THCA flower grown indoors in state-of-the-art facilities and harvested at peak THCA levels to emphasize a natural aroma and flavor. There's a few different kinds. We'll get into them as the week goes along, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that if you're 21 and over, check out this link that's below on VIIA's website for 15% off. You use the code Daily Dose. You can get all kinds of gummies, vapes, topicals, calming drops, and it legally ships to nearly all states in the US in discreet packaging, no less. Discreet packaging is very important these days, right? You don't want your neighbor to be like, wait, what's up with that? Why do you have marijuana being given to your address? So go to VIIA.com, use code Daily Dose. I also have a specific link in the show notes if you want to hit it up and check it out for yourself. Thank you, VIIA, for sponsoring the show. Everyone, Robin, I love my dosers. You guys are so funny. I really am grateful for VIIA because we were down and now we are high. We are all high. Josh says only on Daily Dose would I be teary-eyed and laughing at the same time. Mark says it's 5 p.m. somewhere. Yes, this is the best thing. Speaking of discreet, Lance killed me the other day because you know how Facebook Marketplace has the craziest things? On Facebook Marketplace, there was this post where it's a picture of mushrooms, like full on mushrooms, like drug mushrooms. And it's like high quality mushrooms, psychedelic, shipped straight to your house. It's very discreet. It's like the picture is like mushrooms for sale. We were like, I don't think that that's discreet. I feel like you're telling us that you're selling drugs on Facebook Marketplace. Well, I'm not selling drugs on Facebook Marketplace. That would be silly. I sell drugs via VIIA, but it's a legal drug. We're good. We're good with cannabis. Okay, we're good. Let's get into the the show. So, as you guys know, I did a Patreon last night where I talked a lot about Love is Blind. I am not loving this season of Love is Blind. I don't give a crap about all of the couples. And I say that seriously. I don't care about any single one of those couples. The ones that are sweet and lovely are so sweet and lovely that they're boring and, they put me to sleep. I don't care if they're good together or not. Like, and then the ones that are struggling, I don't like. So, what I really don't like about Love is Blind this season is the fact that the editors, the producers, whoever created the show spent a gazillion hours on a couple. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, although you really at this point should have watched the first six. A couple that didn't even go to Mexico. That has never happened in the past. Usually there's couples that we find out connected in the pods, but didn't go to Mexico. And so the show never followed them. But it doesn't matter because we never got to know them. This time, we had a couple, we had like a love triangle situation, and we spent so much time on this one specific guy, Leo. Oh, I guess I'm giving it away. We spent so much time on this one specific guy. Can I give it away? I mean, like, can I just say their names? Whatever. We spent so much time on him and this girl. And then they get engaged. And then at the end of it, it says, oh, production decided not to follow these two to Mexico, not to send these two to Mexico. Well, then why the hell did you spend all your time and my time? I want my minutes back. Another huge complaint, and I talked about it on Patreon. I don't know if you guys agree with me. Why are we talking about politics for 20 straight minutes on Love is Blind? This is where I go to escape politics. I don't want to know why you're voting for who and for 20 minutes. This was not the right show. The cast is off. I'm not liking the cast. Maybe it's the DC peeps. Maybe you guys in DC are just like not, as good for Love is Blind. I don't know. It's not good. Something's going on. And I agree that Michelle said they've literally had couples that got engaged, went to Mexico, made it to the altar, and we never even saw them. So, like, why did they decide to spend so much time on someone who didn't even go to Mexico? So annoyed. Beyond annoyed. And I'm doing it and I'll continue to watch it, but I was going to recap episode by episode and I stopped. I was like, I don't even want to get into, I don't have enough to talk about. It's like bad versus bad. Bad for versus badder. You know what I mean? I was not feeling it. Michelle says politics because they're in DC. I mean, I think politics are a really important conversation, to be honest. I don't think you should get together with someone who's adamantly on the other end because I don't think it's like asking for drama in your marriage. Like, I don't think you should marry someone who is completely on an opposite end politically. Just cut that shit out for the audience. I don't want to watch it. Andrew wants to know if we know Leo is rich. I don't think anyone in this world, and that includes zygotes in embryos, don't know that Leo is rich. Like, aliens on Mars have heard that Leo is rich. The amount of times this man talks about how rich he is. You know what they say, the richer you are, the less you speak about it. Hello? Like, wealth whispers. Leo yells, I am so rich. I am so rich. Okay. Anyway, as you can see, a big, and that show is always one of my faves. So I'm really bummed about it. Really bummed about it. Okay, let's go on to a couple other things. So let's talk Diddy. Okay, let's do a little Diddy. We don't have that much more information. We definitely don't have all kinds of like new uh groundbreaking stories. However, I did want to tell you guys a couple things. So, the lawyer Tony Busby is this Texas lawyer who apparently has 120 people that he is representing who have cases against Diddy. 25 or so of them were minors at the time, half women, half men across all the United States. So, it's obviously a big story. He has now spoken to TMZ and he said that there are definitely other celebs who are set to be sued, big celebs. They've already sent them demand letters. And these are celebrities that are on the level of Diddy, if not higher, he says. But this is what's a little annoying about it, because he says a bunch of famous people that everyone has heard of are going to be sued by his law firm in the couple weeks. And he's already sent out demand letters, giving these celebs the chance to pony up a lot of money to settle and avoid a public lawsuit. I don't want them to give opportunities to settle. Don't you guys feel like we should know every single one of those celebs? Is that just me being nosy, or is that me being like feeling really confident like I don't want to support any celebrity who has done bad enough to be sued by any of these defendants. So, I don't wanna know I don't want them to spend any money on settling with any of these people. I feel like that is giving them like a pass. At this point, they shouldn't even be given the opportunity to settle. But um but it bothers me that is something that is an option. He says some celebs have already even settled. And he says the way he sees this case, this attorney, anyone involved with Diddy's alleged sexual assault should be on the hook here. And that includes folks who participated in the assaults, helped them happen, went to parties where they knew people were being drugged and assaulted, saw crimes being committed and remained silent, or helped cover up the assaults. So if just say like Joe Schmo over here, who's a big actor who we go and watch, in all the big films, if he was part of the parties or around the parties or knew what was happening at the parties, don't you guys think in a weird way that he should we should know who he is? Like as a public? I don't know. So that's what's going on there. Now, meanwhile, another Diddy story is his mom has spoken. Now, I don't know a lot about his mom, but I was kind of surprised. His mom's name is Janice Smalls Combs. Am I missing this? Is there a connection between Biggie Smalls and Janice Smalls Combs? Were they related in any capacity, or is Smalls just like a random name that they both had? Very confused by this. Sean Diddy Combs' mom, Janice Smalls Combs, spoke out in defense over Diddy over the weekend as he faces trial of sex trafficking and racketeering, plus numerous allegations of assault. She says, "It's heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies." She shared this statement via her lawyer on Sunday. "To bear witness what seems like a public lynching of my son before he has had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. Like every human being, my son deserves to have his day in court to finally share his side and to prove his innocence." Now, she also says, "I am not here to portray my son as perfect because he is not. He has made mistakes in the past, as we all have. My son may have not been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten violent with an ex girlfriend when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise." Janice also addressed why she personally believes that Diddy settled with Cassie out of court. She said, "Sometimes the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when that truth is outside the norm or is too complicated to believe. This is why I believe my son's civil legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used this decision against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt." It is an admission of guilt. Diddy is guilty of abusing Cassie. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here. Now, I understand if you are a mother, and your son is being charged with these horrendous, heinous crimes, I think most mothers' first go to is to think, "Mm, I think it's a lie." Because you're in denial, right? I think you're in denial that all this stuff is really, really bad. However, we have video evidence. And yes, there's a lot of video evidence that has not been released, so she probably hasn't seen all of it. But you've got to be literally under a cloud of, you know, under the denial umbrella if you really don't believe that your son was capable of horrendous things and all these people are out to get him. What, public lynching? No, it happens because it happened. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on, or what the truth was, but I only can say that people don't usually put their lives on the lines and sue, etc., um, unless they have a reason to. That, you know, yeah, a lot of people feel this is interesting. Callie says, "My ex pled guilty to graping me. and his mom still doesn't believe it. Delusional people out there. I mean, it goes as far as like even sports parents, right? I have a lot of sports parents in my life whose kids, they're not that good. And they walk around like that kid is an Olympian. And they talk about it like they're shocked if the coach doesn't play them one inning or game, or they're convinced that it's always someone else's fault. So like this happens from every level. I'm very proud to say that I see my kids as incredibly flawed human beings. I think they're amazing, but I think that they are definitely flawed. Like I like to believe that I would trust if I saw video of one of my kids, God forbid, doing that, I would probably not go out and say like, "Stop going after him." I don't know. It's very tough. It's very tough as a parent because you have no other way to go. Like you have to believe I don't know. Very tough. I can only imagine. Um any other Diddy stuff? That's all I'm going to talk about when it comes to Diddy. I in the legal landscape separated from Diddy, the Menendez brothers. So one of my amazing dosers, she may be here right now. Her I hope I'm allowed to say this. Her daughter works for Netflix. And so she has told me that this documentary is coming out. So today on Netflix, a documentary about the Menendez brothers has been released. And I want to see this, but I did start Monsters, you guys. I started it last night. I watched almost 2 full episodes. It's wild and it's dark and it left me feeling very unsettled. And I was really happy that I could turn Potomac on afterwards because I almost think I would have had nightmares. I didn't like this at all. Like it was gruesome. It was it was a lot. And is that Milli Vanilli stuff true? Did they really play Milli Vanilli at their mom and dad's funeral? Like, that is a little wild. So I'm gonna watch the documentary this week, and we'll definitely talk about it. Okay, let's move on. Some small little moments in Housewives and Bravo news. Shannon Beador has responded. This happened last week, but we didn't talk about it on Friday. But I just wanted to kind of button that up. Shannon Beador has responded to the Joel Kim Booster Instagram story remarks. As you guys know, I am not a fan of Joel Kim Booster. Never was, won't be. And Joel Kim Booster had really tore Shannon down. So at her live show on Thursday night, a couple Bravo creators were there and they posted a video of her saying, someone asked her about it and she said she was really shocked by it. An hour before he posted those stories, he came up to her and said how proud he was of her and how happy he was for her for having such an amazing experience in Mexico. So she feels like he completely turned on her, went below the belt, like went after her daughters, etc. Really unprofessional. So I'm curious. Yesterday they taped the reunion, their OC reunion. And I'm very, very interested in knowing how that goes. We did see some clips of like what people were wearing and stuff. I guess Emily's glam team, like what idiots posted all these stories. And so everyone got to see their outfits. And like Bravo likes to release that first. Not like this is something that we have to hide. Like, what are they wearing for the reunion? Who cares? um, so I can't wait for that to air. And honestly, if John Jansen showed up at the reunion, I'll throw an egg. Like I can't. So Shannon Beador responded about that. In other Bravo news, Kristen Doute has shared that Stassi has not congratulated her on her engagement. The only part about that that's shocking is that Stassi is well, listen, Kristen Doute is not really in, as far as I know, with Katie anymore. Katie and Stassi are very, very close. But Kristen, I mean, this was the witches of Eastwood, Westwood, West Hollywood, who knows what. The Witches of WeHo? Wasn't that what they were called? Kristen and Stassi had a lot of drama, obviously. Like they were Kristen was sleeping with Jax when Stassi was with them. Like there was always a little bit of drama between them. I don't think that Stassi liked Kristen ever that much. They always kind of were at odds. So I don't think it's that shocking that Stassi didn't go out of her way to congratulate her. But I guess a text would have been nice. I just don't really know if Um, if Kristen Doute, like if Stassi even thinks about Kristen, I hate to say it out loud, but I really feel like they're in such different places in their life. Like Stassi's connection with the Valley is very separated. She's not friends with Brittany Cartwright because of Brittany and Jack's drama. We all know that story. She's not friends with any of those other girls. I don't think she's friends with Nia or Janet or um who are the other girls on that show? Michelle, Lolly, and Kristen. Like, I just think they're so separated. They're in such different like places in their life. So I'm not surprised about that. And finally, Whitney from Salt Lake City, her daughter Bobby Rose was rushed to the ICU to the hospital last night or yesterday, and they posted about it on their Instagram because that's what influencers do, I guess. Like when your daughter is rushing off to the hospital, you post about it on Instagram. Anyway, I feel bad for Bobby, who's 14, because she was rushed to the hospital for a severe asthma exacerbation, a severe asthma exacerbation over the weekend. And Whitney wrote on her Instagram stories, "My beautiful community, please pray for my angel daughter, Bobby Rose. I would never come on here to share something so vulnerable, but we need prayers and good vibes right now." She was taken by an ambulance to the ICU today for severe asthma exacerbation. Also, Justin, her husband, posted a similar thing of a picture of Bobby going on a stretcher with breathing tubes in her nose. Thoughts and prayers for our baby girl today, struggling with her breathing. And then on Monday, Whitney came online and said, "Thank you all for the love and prayers for my sweet Bobby Rose. We feel your energy. Unfortunately, we do not have any updates. Please keep praying for our angel." Well, luckily she's in the hospital and hopefully she will be okay. If you guys have heard any sort of update, let me know. I haven't heard anything other than that. So let's let's hope that she's okay. I'm assuming she'll be okay considering she's got breathing tubes and she's in a hospital, but asthma's no joke. I never struggled with asthma, but I've heard some really, really crazy things about people struggling with asthma. Okay. Any other stories like that? No. So let's get into last night's TV. But before we do that, I would love to remind you that Daily Dose of Donna this week is also sponsored by BetterHelp. As you guys know, Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? What is on your fear list right now? I'll tell you that. Let's all list our fears right now. Okay. My fear is natural disasters, as I've seen so many people really struggle with, Mother Nature and what that can do. I have a fear of sinkholes. I have a fear of safety for, like shootings, etc. And I have a fear of the Menendez brothers. Honestly, last night I went to sleep like not in a good place thinking about those Menendez brothers and that scene. Like I was not okay. I'm sorry. It really did scar me. And I need to watch the documentary. So, if you are struggling with any fears, which we all have, therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. If you personally are struggling with any fears, it's maybe time to talk to someone. I have never felt better than when I release any of my fears and say them out loud. You start to say them out loud and you're like, wait, what's the worst thing that happens? What's the worst thing that happens? And just you start to cope, learn ways to cope by speaking to someone who is a professional, and that is a therapist. A therapist like BetterHelp, like those therapists at BetterHelp are really possibly the ones that you need. The best thing about it is that you don't have to leave your house. You do it from home. You get on Zoom. You can even just do it on a phone call. It's entirely online. It's convenient. It's flexible and suited to your schedule. And I have 10% off your first month if you use code Donna. So betterhelp.com/Donna. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/DANA. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Okay, let's talk about Potomac. Did you guys watch Potomac and what are your thoughts? So, Real Housewives of Potomac came back with season 9 last night. And of course, the big story was Karen Huger and her insane DUI and accident that happened right when they started filming. So, don't remember exactly what the date was, but I'm sure we could find that really easily. I'm just not going to look it up at this moment. Uh, the accident happened, and we got a reenactment that honestly, like, move over America's Most Wanted, move over Dateline. Potomac is in the house with their reenactments. We always get really insanely good editing stuff with Potomac. They're just like cheesy, but it's, we see a car driving down a dark road. Even my son, oh, this was March 19th, 2024. Even my son, 9 years old, he was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "I just have to watch Potomac tonight." He goes, "Can I watch the first few minutes with you?" I said, "Okay." He laid next to me. We start watching it, and it's the reenactment. He doesn't even know what we're about to watch. And he goes, "Who's driving? Are they drunk?" Because the camera's like, I mean, it's all fuzzy. It's crazy. So, yes, definitely she was drunk. She hits, I guess a deer runs across the street. She hits the side of the road. I don't remember exactly what she hits. And she was taken into custody and cited with a DUI that night. But then what was crazy was that the next day, all of those charges got released that she had an unregistered car and she didn't have registration. She didn't have a license. She had a prior DUI. She didn't have insurance. Like she had so many different charges against her. And this is where now we have entered another world of, I think, denial, like P. Diddy's mom. And that is where Karen Huger is now, because we see Giselle driving, talking to Ashley on the phone. Why does Giselle say morning, morning, happy morning, good morning, morning, this morning? Am I missing something? Why is she saying morning? Good morning. Is that like a funny thing? Funny. Ha ha ha. So they are driving. She's driving to go see Karen. And she's talking to Ashley about it, and she's like, "Yeah, I just haven't seen her. I know she's not really leaving her house that much, so I'm gonna go pick her up." She picks up Karen, and they drive to a diner, and they almost hit 2 deer, not deers, 2 deer who cross the street, and they're like, "That's a sign." But we then come into one of the weirdest, did anyone else feel this? One of the weirdest scenes you've ever seen, ever, with Karen Huger. Good morning to all of you. One of the weirdest scenes I've ever seen with Karen. Uh, it was the most unlikable version of her that I've ever seen ever, and that is the version of, "I'm just blessed to be alive. Everything's fine. We can't talk about it. It's a court case. Why are we talking about it? We shouldn't be talking about this. Let's talk about something else. We shouldn't talk about this. Let's not talk about this." And Giselle's just asking her questions as a friend. Now, understandably, there's cameras there, but you can't expect to be arrested for a DUI. You're making national news. You're on a Bravo TV show. You get hired back to do the show, and now you can't speak about it. And Karen is playing it's this like, "I'm just glad I'm alive." There's almost like no shame and no, what's the word? Not shame, no regret. Did anyone else feel that? Like, I felt no I felt she had no regret for her actions. It's just like, "Yeah, I'm blessed to be alive. I didn't hurt myself more than a little ankle and a little arm. How about I don't know what I was thinking. I made a huge mistake. I am so, so sad that I made such an error. I wish more than anything that I didn't do that. I'm devastated over the choices I made." Like, Shannon Beador wins this competition. If we're comparing two people that made devastating mistakes, I think Shannon Beador is winning this one. She's winning this competition of feeling worse after the fact. Like, I didn't like it. And it made me disassociate from Karen a bit, because I really like Karen, but I didn't like Karen in this episode. I don't want to see someone pretending that they're like, "It's all good." It wasn't for me. Also, and I don't know how soon after this clip at the diner was filmed after the accident. I'm assuming like within a month, but Karen does not seem herself. And I don't know if she is on some sort of medication, but her eyes are looking a little bit. Did you guys not feel that way a little bit? I almost wondered, what Are we on something right now? She did not seem herself. And then the waiter comes out of nowhere. The mic'd waiter, of course. Remember that. He's mic'd. If you ever see someone on a housewife show or any reality show who comes out of nowhere, but you can hear them perfectly, they're mic'd. So this is pre planned. The waiter comes over. Oh, welcome. I love her. She's amazing. She's never had a drink here. It's a breakfast diner. I hope Karen's not going and drinking at the breakfast diner on the weekends. It was really strange. I didn't like it. There was no accountability. That's what it is, Marla. She lacked all accountability whatsoever. And it just like, I already think that you made a mistake. So the best thing you can do right now is take ownership of that mistake and say sorry. And like, really, and I don't know if she feels that if she apologizes for it or feels bad about it, it ruins her chances of like getting off in a less way when it comes to trial. But like, I don't know. Now, the next story we get introduced to this season is Mia, Gordon, and the paternity of her kids. Guys, what the hell is happening here? As we know, Mia and Gordon were together 10 years. They had 2 kids together. And apparently she was having an affair the entire time. So confusing to me. And there's a man named INC, who is a rapper, I guess. I don't even know. And he and Mia were hooking up at the time that she got pregnant with her first son, but she had an IUI. So she knows it was Gordon's. But now, 10 years later, her boyfriend Ink, she's back together or never broke up with Ink. Now, all of a sudden, Ink is going and, you know, saying, I want a paternity test. And Mia's like, I do think he should get one. And Gordon's like, no, I'm the dad. And meanwhile, little boy, little Jeremiah, is just scooting around so sweet, eating his ice cream. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing, Mia? Now, this comes up a little bit later because when they're at the Hatitude party, Mia gets called out for being not putting her kids ahead of her, like to put her own stuff before her kids because she's been having an affair for 10 years. And Mia loses her mind over it and gets up and sobs and cries. This is not good parenting. What are you doing? Do not make this a storyline. It's already now too much. Your son is in the scene. How the hell is Jeremiah going to handle this when he watches this later? Just to let you guys know, my 9-year-old was still here until the first commercial break. So he was watching the scene and he says to me, Mom, does Jeremiah know that that's not his dad? I said, number 1, Oliver, I think that is his dad. But number 2, no, I don't think he has any idea what's happening. Isn't that like sad? And Oliver's like, yeah. And then I swear he looked at me like, are you my mom? This is going to screw Jeremiah up. Like, what in the world is happening? Really not good. I really feel bad for Gordon. And I feel like Gordon needs Mia. It sounds to me like Mia is taking care of Gordon. She said it later that he's living in the condo with them. She and Ink are doing his laundry and folding his laundry and putting it away. He's leaning on her. It's a really strange relationship. Then we have this whole scene with Ashley. On what planet, Ashley? I'm not a fan of Ashley anymore. On what planet, Ashley, are you trying to pretend that you're just now wanting to start dating? Ashley's been hooking up with men this entire time. Like, where we saw you TikToking with Luke from Summer House. What's happening? You can't play this game with us. But she's with an attorney talking about like, I'm ready to start dating. Okay. Then we see Dr. Wendy, who decides that she doesn't want to be a professor anymore. To be 100% honest with you, I don't know that I knew she was an actual professor ever. I also didn't watch her first season on the show, but I didn't even really know she was a professor. I thought it was just like, for fun. But she tells her husband that she doesn't want to be a professor anymore. It doesn't fulfill her, and she quits her job. Her husband's Eddie, right? That's his name, Happy Eddie. And they're also involved in the cannabis world. Everyone's involved in cannabis. If you're a housewife, you either get into what? Makeup, clothing, jewelry, or cannabis. We see a scene with Karen going to this woman, Vivian's dress shop to find a dress. And once again, it's like, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. Like Karen has not been bothered by this whatsoever. She is totally unbothered by it. But this is also the scene where we get to meet one of the new housewives. Um, I'm trying to remember what her name is. There's 2 of them, and, hold on, I'm gonna get to it. Stassi. Stassi is the new housewife, one of the 2 new women, and she is stunning beyond belief. She's gorgeous, but also she is, I think she's on QVC. I don't even remember. She's like on TV or something. And she's 16 years. She was married and now she's going through a divorce. So she's single and they're just talking about how they're shopping for some sort of gala, some sort of event. I don't even know. Then they start drinking champagne. Karen doesn't drink champagne and they're like, "Do you have a problem with us drinking in front of you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll be drinking with you the second this medication's done." Okay. Um, who is this person? Okay. So okay, so anyway, the show continues and um we see them getting ready for this Hatitude party. We didn't really get a lot of Giselle backstory in the season. Like, we don't really know where Giselle is in her life, but she's talking about how she is planning this party for Karen. It's her birthday, 65, something along those lines. And everyone is like, bringing presents that are for a non-alcoholic, it's all about non-alcoholic and, the fact that she's not drinking. They did on the menu something like a non-alcoholic drink called the Grand Dame, etc. And they were having a lot of oh gosh, I'm sending love in the comments. I'm seeing a lot of sad stuff. So everyone was excited to be there and happy to be there. And of course, we got to meet Jassy. She's a I hope I'm saying her name right. She is a new housewife, I think, who's also a WAG. She's also a Chief's wife, Kansas City Chiefs, who's met Taylor Swift. Okay, cool. Now I'm hearing that there's going to be a reality show, basically the WAGs of the Kansas City Chiefs. Have you heard this? So I feel like they're really pushing the Kansas City Chiefs wives on us. It's a lot. And I mean the majority of what happens in the scene is that, you know, they're kind of going back and forth. A lot of it is really with Mia. And that's kind of where I let it go at the end of the episode was everyone was kind of giving Mia a hard time about her parenting and about all of that. And again, Karen is in just complete denial and that's pretty much how the episode ends. Mia runs off and cries. I'm looking forward to see what happens. Karen made a comment basically like, "This is the moment where you need to tell me if you're my friend or not." To everyone because she's like, "Are you standing with Karen? Or are you not standing with Karen?" It's giving a little entitled for where she is right now in her life. That's just my thoughts. So that is the first episode of Potomac. It was fine. It was good. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was good. I thought it was good. Let's go on to talk about Sister Wives. And as I read these comments about people who are struggling in the wake of this upcoming storm, hurricane, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And the fact that you're here in the comments spending it with us is huge for me. So thank you for being here. And of course, obviously, my heart is with you big time. Sister Wives was good. Y'all, Sister Wives was a good episode because we got some emotion out of Cody. This was narcissism of a Ramen-Haired man at its finest. But before we get into this huge blowout on a snowy day in the driveway of the Cody and Robin Brown homestead, we have to, go back to McKelty having the babies. And in this episode, we're just out of the hospital, and McKelty had a cesarean, one set of twins, Ace and Arthur, and was home the next day, which I have to say, go McKelty, because I had 2 cesareans and I was not home the next day. So I don't know exactly how that happened, but like I was in severe pain the next day after my cesarean. But okay. So she's home. And what's wild to see is that she is waking up, she's eating. Christine has given her some food or whatever. Christine's holding both babies. Now, remember, Christine is biological grandma. But guess who's in the closet? And this is not metaphorical. Literally, guess who was sleeping in the closet? Robin. Sobbing Robin and Mackenzie and what's her name again? McKelty. Sob Robin and McKelty are really tight. McKelty really always looked up to Robin, was there for her during her teenage years. I get it. My stepmom, my dad's second wife, who he no longer is married to, and they divorced when I was 16 or 15 or whatever. She was integral into my high school years. Like, I am so grateful for her, and she wasn't even my stepmom anymore. So I understand this McKelty Robin situation, but McKelty had Robin sleep in the closet on the floor with the two babies. And she would basically bring the baby over to McKelty, put her on her boob, take the baby, burp, feed, change, whatever, and then put the baby back to bed. Where's Tony? Isn't that where, like, Tony was not part of the equation at all. Did you notice that? Like, no one mentioned Tony at all. It's like Robin and McKelty are sister wives all of a sudden, and Tony is like running the roost. I don't even know where Tony went, but no one mentioned that Tony's been helping me with the babies. Tony's making the food, actually. This is what's happening. Tony made the food, as Tony does. So, of course, Robin and Christine now have to have this conversation because, they're together holding the babies. And I actually was so proud of Christine because she was so nice to Robin. She wasn't jealous that Robin spent the night and was hanging out with the babies the entire night. She wasn't doing it. She was just happy that the babies were being taken care of. She was so grateful for it. Once again, we have Janelle talking about how when she had Logan as a baby, Christine helped and took the baby. So I guess Robin and McKelty are now new sister wives. If Robin had a choice, do you think she would leave Cody for Tony? Just asking. Just curious. Cody and Tony, between the two of them, I actually don't know which one I'd pick. Tony. I'd pick Tony. I would pick, the blonde ramen hair for the squid ink spaghetti hair. So, oh my gosh. Then we talk about Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is coming. And every single time we watch the show, we're at a new holiday. I mean, that's what the show is based on, holidays and where people are spending holidays. So Christine decides she's obviously going to spend it with McKelty and the babies, and a couple family members are coming over, but it's not about the food. It's really just about being together with the family. That was Christine's way of saying, we're going to probably order pizza. Then Janelle is spending it at Logan's new house. Logan is her firstborn with her other son, Hunter, and Peyton, who happens to be Christine's son. But because Peyton is the only boy, he likes spending time with Christine's sons. Now, what we didn't see Gabriel and we didn't see Garrison. And as you guys know, Garrison did pass earlier this year. So I am dying to know, are they cutting him out of the show? Are we not seeing them for a reason? No one mentioned where Gabriel and Garrison are spending the holidays. So I was curious about that. Mary is left in a boat without a paddle. Mary doesn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. She says, I was supposed to go to California, but that didn't work out. And I don't really want to go and spend Thanksgiving with Robin and Cody because every time I'm around them, they're not allowed. They feel that they can't act marital. Well, by the way, what is marital? Like, this idea of like, I can't show you marital affection. Do you really want to know what marital affection is? It's like, babe, open the oven. You're in my way. Can you move the kitchen? Can you put more wine glasses? Can you carve the turkey? Hey, babe, like, that's marital conversations. Who on Thanksgiving is hosting Thanksgiving for your whole family and goes to your husband all day long? Oh, my love. Oh, I love you so much. I think this turkey is moist and juicy, just like my you-know-what for you. No one's doing that. So, Michelle says Mary's child, Leon, wasn't even speaking to Mary at this time. I don't know that. I don't know why. Oh my gosh, Michelle's got all the goods. That's because Peyton and Gwendolyn do not speak and cannot be in the same space together. Why? Peyton and Gwendolyn are same mom and dad. Gwendolyn has a girlfriend, by the way. And she brought her to Thanksgiving at Christine's. And Christine's like, oh, I love them. They're so cute. If they wanted to get married right now, I would be so happy. But anyway, so this idea of that, like, Robin can't be marital and affectionate with her husband when I'm around, you're crazy. This is not the time to be affectionate. Cooking Thanksgiving dinner, sorry. A little tap on the butt, fine, bye. Do not like expect me to stop what I'm doing while I'm stuffing the inner loins of the turkey to be like, my lovey dovey, I love you. No, get out of my way. We have a small kitchen. So poor Mary ended, I say poor, but I don't really feel that way, ended up having to spend Thanksgiving sick in bed because not only is she not talking to Leon, yeah, we need to find out why she's not talking to Leon at this point, but also she's not spending any time with Robin because she doesn't want to become third wheeler, and no one else wants her around. Christine and Janelle have not invited her around, and she's sick. So was she really sick or was she sick? Cough, cough, I'm sick. Who knows? Whose house would you rather be at for Thanksgiving? Would you rather be at, in this episode, would you rather be at Robin's? Would you rather be at Christine's with the babies and who was there? Isabel, Wisabel, Truly, all of those fun folk? Or would you rather be at um Janelle's, where she's got like the boys? I think I would choose Christine's. Christine's seems like the most fun. Plus, you get to hang out with the little babies. I would choose Christine's. And Tony makes a good stuffing, right? I'm sure the food is so good. So Robin is like, Thanksgiving was great, but I did miss my family. I really wish we were together. Do you, though? Why would you want to be around these people? You hate it every second. Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. Now, we think it's gotten bad for Cody and Robin, and we haven't seen nothing yet. The commercial break ends, and the episode starts with a chyron on a black screen, and you know it's going to be good when you see that. And this is what it says. Now, mind you, I want to tell you guys one thing. Whoever does the score for Sister Wives deserves a damn Emmy. This is Philharmonic style. This is like someone listened to Terms of Endearment musical, the musical score of Terms of Endearment, and they're like, make it more sad so we can put it on Sister Wives. Like the saddest score overshadows the show. So we get sad music and we get just a black screen. And it says, no, you see Cody and Robin's house. And then it's a very snowy day, Flagstaff, Arizona. And then it goes to black. Robin's house. Shortly before cameras arrived, Cody and Robin had a heated exchange. Melancholy music is playing, just so you know. Before tensions could escalate, Cody decided to go for a drive. Where do you think he went? Drove through that Coyote Pass. He had to go back and measure lot 4. Now that he's fighting with Robin, maybe he's going to cut off a couple square inches of lot 4. So he decides, I'm going to come back and we're going to have a conversation because Robin says, I need to talk to Cody about his relationship with his children. So it does make sense on a very snowy day that you would force the crew and you in full head-to-toe snow gear to have a hugely important marital conversation. Of course you would do that outside in a snowy day. Why? Why couldn't we go inside into the purple palace of love for this conversation? Robin comes out. She goes, hi. Cody goes, hey. Robin goes, I think it's time we talk. Cody goes, I'm feeling heated. Robin says, your kids need you. Now, I don't like Robin, but I do have to say, even if it's just for camera's sake, Robin is at least on the right track here. I'm telling you this. We all watch these things with our own eyes, with our own lens, right? As someone who has a father that is similar to Cody in a lot of ways, my dad has never once measured a lot on Coyote Pass. My dad has never driven a truck. He doesn't have work gloves. He's not that kind of guy. But my dad is a piece of shit. Is that bad to say out loud? It's true. And it's always everyone else's fault, right? Everyone else's fault. And he's just being this good man that's the victim. That's narcissism, right? So Cody is convinced that the reason why he doesn't have a relationship with all of his kids except McKelty and Robin's kids is because he's the victim of a smear campaign led by the wives. And of course, Maddie. Maddie gets thrown in there. Maddie's the biggest gossip. Cody is convinced that he is the victim in a charade with his kids. And he's not recognizing that two major things happened. Number one, he went against his children during COVID. He literally wanted to kick his own kids out of their home, not even his personal home, Janelle's home, because they went to work, because they saw a friend, and he didn't feel safe in his own home. Number two, his daughter had a huge spinal surgery, and he didn't go. It would take him away from Robin's kids. And you know Ariella, she needs her dad there all the time. He's forgetting that we've been watching their entire lives. He's forgetting that we have hours, and when I say we, I mean the kids, have hours and hours and hours of evidence of what a douchebag this guy is. And he is poor Cody because he's only guilty of falling madly in love with Robin and falling out of love with his wives. He's done nothing wrong. He's just living his life. He says, I've tried with my kids. I've tried. And they say, get out of here, you asshole. He has probably sent one text saying, so am I going to see you for Thanksgiving? And then he says, they are turning me away. They're resenting me. I don't understand how in the world this man can say this out loud, knowing that cameras are watching him, saying, what did I do? I am hurt. I am angry. I can't do it anymore, Robin. And if you think I'm being dramatic, I'm not. I have contempt. And she goes, I just want you to try. And he goes, I will, but they won't allow me to love them. It is psychotic. Watching these two is like either they think they're doing like a Juilliard audition, or they think they're on a telenovela. It's like they basically had a kumbaya in the Purple Palace of Love. And they said, listen, we're getting cameras here today. You better cry. No, you better cry. We need to look sad and we need to look like the victims, and victims cry. So Robin, get those cheers on, and I will too. I'm onion up in the car, and I'm gonna cry. And then Robin says, it just reminds me of my biological dad who wasn't there for me. Cody, you don't want to be this guy. They're hurting. They're hurting. And he goes, I am protecting you, Robin. They are talking badly about you. What am I supposed to do? Just take it? Just take it? I've never hated anyone more than I do Cody Brown in the episode, season 19, episode 4 of Sister Wives. It's shocking. He goes, I used to think it was always the parents, it should always be on the parent with your kids, but these aren't kids, they're adults. Robin goes, they need you. He goes, they don't need me they don't need to treat me like crap. Can you imagine wanting to have sex with this man after he's sitting there crying victim over Gabriel crying that he wasn't there on his birthday? What a sicko. What a sicko. I don't know where we fix it. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know when we fix it, but it will be on Coyote Pass. He's convinced that these kids don't respect him, and he's convinced it's their parents and Maddie's fault. Poor Maddie. Maddie really gets thrown under the bus during this episode. Also, does Cody remember Leon? Does Cody remember Mary and Leon? Like, does he even know they're alive? I love how he always says, the only thing I did was fall out of love. It's the only thing I did. He sucks. He sucks balls. He sucks hairy balls. And no one in the world should suck hairy balls ever. But Cody he may be up for that. So the episode continues with a lot of crying. And then of course we have, what's her name? We have like a little interchange of Christine talking about going on a date, but she's already married David. So like this feels like just filler. I don't care that Christine's dating David. We know they're going to end up together. But this scene of Cody and Robin out in the snow lasts a solid like 45 minutes of the episode. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. It's crazy. I've never felt drier. You know what I mean? Never felt drier than watching him. Watching Cody does not make me want to get Dame.com. So just to let you guys know. Jennifer wonders if he has ramen balls, and he probably does. Does he perm his hair? Because that hair has gone through all of the iterations. It's been straight, it's been frizzy, it's been curly. What's happening on there? And then, of course, we went back to the beginning. We saw footage from the first house when Cody had short hair and when Cody looked like Whitney from Secret Lives of Mom Talk with his hair. He's like, guys, do you like Robin? She likes you too. So done with this. I can't get enough, but I'm so done with it. But seriously, thank goodness for this happy bullshit and I say happy because talking about it makes me happy because the world is a dark place. And all we need in life is Cody's ramen hair to lighten us up a bit. I love you guys. Thank you for indulging me, especially those first 20 minutes of today's episode. I understand it was a very long clip and I am sorry, but I will be putting timestamps. I love you. Thank you for subscribing, being here, sharing the show with other people, giving me a 5-star rating and review on any podcast app. A review makes the world of difference. Thank you for being here. I love you. See you tomorrow.